How many of you all have been involved in or are familiar with the TCAT to Community College Articulation? Give me your program again. Welding?
Welding technology.
Welding.
I was at the meeting earlier this year with you guys at Smyrna.
At Smyrna. Anyone else in the room? Nope. Okay. Well, some of your programs have been affected, and there's been some work being done, and that's been a major initiative and something that our chancellor finds it important for us to do is that we operate as a system and creating opportunities and pathways for our students that are coming out of our TCATs, and if they want to go on to complete an associate's degree at our partner community colleges, again, we're providing that pathway, that opportunity for them to do that. So that's going to be the topic of our discussion today, or what I'm sharing with you today. All the articulation work is being guided by this particular policy that's out on our TBR website. That's TBR policy 2010003. I think I took away my pointer, which is the principles for articulation in vocational technical education. This policy was originally developed, and it has been through various iterations. The last iteration was about 2 or 3 years ago when there was a TCAT office here at the central office and a community college office, and those vice chancellors got together to talk about, let's look at ways in which we could make this happen. And the wheels started spinning, but they didn't get to where we needed it to be. So the work picked back up last fall. And so we've established a central office task force, and those folks include Dr. Treva Berryman, who is the Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, myself, and Michael Tinsley, who is the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Success. Again, we started revisiting the work that was done some years ago and looking at ways in which we could push this forward. And as a result of that, we have some draft articulations that are in place, going before the chancellor's desk to make sure that these are kind of set, sealed, and things that we can promote to our students. And so, you know, as I stated before, this is all about us seeking a way to facilitate the transfer of a TCAT student, TCAT graduate, into a corresponding AAS degree. So with all the work that we were doing, the question that we would ask ourselves time after time again when we would look at each one of the programs is whether our TCAT program could articulate into a community college AAS degree. And with that initial question, we had to review and take a look at all 88 TCAT programs that are offered across the state. And so we grouped them into some very simplistic categories initially. Even though in the first pass, our TBR committee was able to answer that question, we thought we still have to convene the faculty in really a faculty-centered process to determine whether there truly is a pathway that can make this happen. So what we did is very simplistic, a basic evaluation of all 88 of those programs. We have those that will not articulate, those that we stated may articulate, and those that will. And so I'll just do a brief little breakdown of programs that we know there is not an AAS in or a direct path to. And again, that was just our initial first pass. Those programs include cosmetology, barbering, truck driving, aesthetics, manicuring. There's a couple others, but this is just an example of some of those that we knew we don't have a viable path today, but we are working on some other options to be able to articulate those students into the associate's level of coursework. Those that we stated May. The Mays, the next step is bring faculty together from both the TCAT and the community college, and based on the program title, you really can't tell. You have to do a deeper dive and start looking at what are to be mastered in this TCAT program, crosswalking that into coursework, and learning outcomes at the community college to determine whether this will work. One that I've listed there is industrial maintenance. We've got, across the state, we've got about 9 different industrial maintenance programs. And it is very laughable because it's like, okay, when we talk about industrial maintenance, are we talking about industrial maintenance mechatronics? Are we talking about integrated automation? Are we talking about, any industrial maintenance technology? We've got it all over the board. And so for the community college, it was like, okay, so how many different faculty are we going to have at the table? And for some TCATs, they offer 2 or 3 different industrial, and it's offered at different locations. So we really had to wrap our head around how to make that happen. We are looking to pull those faculty members together some point during this academic year, the 18-19 academic year, to start drilling away at it. I will say with the maze and those that we know will articulate, one of the commonalities that we had in some of those areas were going to be programmatic accreditation. If both the TCAT program and the community college program are accredited by the same body, that made our work a little easier. The other were industry certifications. If they share industry certifications that they're preparing the students for, then that would be a path of articulation as well. And again, I'll show you some of those. Any questions about those that will not, or those that may, or even the process at this point? So these are articulation agreements that we have draft versions of at this point. The committees have met, or the leads on some of these curriculums have met with the community colleges to establish these articulation agreements. They are ready for the Vice Chancellor, which is Dr. Schulte that spoke earlier. They're ready for his signature, and then it goes on to the Chancellor's signature. I will bring up a slide for each one of those. I will tell you surgical technology, that slide is not in here, but I'll talk through how many hours were articulated. And again, that articulated pathway for all of these listed here are based on the industry certifications. So we've got the administrative office technology that's articulating to the administrative professional technology at the community college. And basically what they've done is you've got the industry certification here that TCAT students are being prepared to sit for. These industry certifications, along with the TCAT diploma, they must be a graduate of the TCAT, along with the TCAT diploma, would articulate to these courses at the community college. The hours will vary because if you know the AOT program, I don't think we have any AOT instructors in here today. Yeah. If you know the AOT program, you've got electives. So a student, after 2 trimesters of coursework at the TCAT, then students can go to the different options that are offered. And so that's going to affect which industry certifications they come out with, therefore going to affect what types of credits they get at the community college. The next program is the aviation maintenance technology. That particular program is offered at 3 of our TCATs, and those TCATs include Nashville, Morristown, and Memphis. And we've only got 1 community college that offers the aviation program. And with that, you've got a common programmatic accreditor, the FAA, and TCAT graduates will graduate with the airframe and power plant license. That license is what is really being articulated. You're a graduate of a TCAT, you've got that license, you're being articulated into that AAS only at Northeast, but Northeast has placed all of their gen eds online so that students in the Nashville and Memphis area can at least do all 15 to 17 hours of gen ed online. But that student will receive 40 hours toward that 60, I think it's a 62, 63 hour program. So that's a pretty good ways into.
When they get their license, they can take these classes online and then they'll let their associates.
These are, no. So the classes that are online are going to be your gen eds. general education, your math, your English, or
Yeah,
those things that, so those will be online.
Okay.
Those will be online. So yeah, that's pretty much the framework. Again, this is draft, but this is what Northeast has committed to crediting our TCAT graduates from the program, 40 hours. That's probably one of our larger articulation agreements.
What's the total commitment for AS degree?
For that particular program, I think it's 61 hours,
So they get 470 with me.
470 clock hours.
With me and Ronnie, yeah.
Mhm.
So then that gives them 40 hours going towards
Their 60-hour AAS.
60.
Uh-huh.
That was
Mhm.
the final number would be 60.
It's somewhere around 60,
So they only have to go and take 20 more hours and
and they're done.
they're good to roll.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
most of them to do that.
Yeah. And it's, we may not get them articulating into a community college right out of our programs. They may want to work in the field. They may see an opportunity for leadership or management and may say that AAS will get me to that next level. And so just having that pathway, that opportunity, just promoting that, and we are facilitating making that happen. That's what we're looking to do here.
Yeah, the airlines love that. AS degree.
Airlines love it.
Oh, yeah. And big factories like Robin I worked at love it too.
Well, that's a good thing. And so something else to promote to your students.
Only a
Once
couple of bucks an hour.
once the agreements are finalized, they will come back to the presidents, and the presidents then distribute the information to you all to say, this is the final agreement, promote to your students. Computer information technology was another one that was a little bit of a doozy, because I've only put the program name Computer Information Technology because that's the AAS degree at the community college. For TCATs, we have CIT, Computer Information Systems, Information Technology and Infrastructure Management, Computer Electronics Technology. We have 7 different IT-related programs. So all 7 of those programs were crosswalk to the AAS and CIT. So that, again, will determine the industry certification that a student has achieved along with the diploma will determine what courses they will receive credit for at the community college. But this goes all the way up to, I think it was like 2.5 pages worth of industry certification. IT is just highly, the certifications are just, it's a big deal in that particular program. Then we have the Emergency Medical Technology Program, the EMT program. That one, again, is in draft format. A student coming out of a TCAT that has a diploma and it has earned their EMT license or AEMT license, 16 hours for each of those, for a total of 32 hours going toward an AAS and paramedic services. Again, you have a common licensing board for both are accredited by the State Board of Emergency Services or something like that, but having that common board does help. Questions? Yes.
So I know in the nursing program, we don't have any certifications along the way. I don't teach that, but I took that at TCAT like a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
It's really, really hard for an LPN graduate to transition into an ASN program at community college. They make it really, really difficult. Is there a way that we can somehow have a relationship that they get accurate information, that they can be encouraged instead of discouraged?
Right. So that is one of our ongoing articulation agreements, because in the conversations, ASN, of course, goes into a little more depth in some areas that we are preparing our students for. But as of now, there is a bridge opportunity for LPN students to articulate through that bridge into an ASN program. And for every one of our community colleges, there are a certain number of seats that they reserve for our LPN graduates. So if you've got questions about whether yours may be Columbia State, how many seats Columbia State has per year for LPN graduates, we could talk about that. but work is constantly being done to try to massage it and make sure that we're clearly articulating to the student and that a true map or pathway is set up for our TCAT graduates into the ASN program. And then we've got do we have Nashville State, Crossville here in the room for the BSN. So the BSN program has become a hot topic. There is a pathway for LPN graduates to transition into the BSN program that's being offered by ETSU, and that just kind of kicked off this fall. Yeah, this fall, and so that's another viable option where there's so many hours that are going to be articulated into that BSN program as a result of already having a LPN, that LPN license. But still more work to be done on the ASN front. Other questions? Yes.
Is there, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying for the AAS degree, they would wind up taking core classes after they finish with, like, in our case, the A1. Is there a way for that to actually be on the front side of the program? Because it would actually help if we're talking about English, math, and science. You know
Well,
what I mean?
at this point, so we've got two things to consider with that. At this point, our TCATs do not have the credentials to deliver collegiate areas of general education. So that's number one. And then number two, the way federal financial aid and state financial aid is set up, a student can't be enrolled in two different institutions and receive funds, financial aid funds at two different institutions. So a student could do it, but they're paying out of pocket and they've got to accommodate their time to do it. That's where that's currently where we are. But you know, that could change in the future, but those are the two hampers we have at this time. Other questions? All right, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to Melynda, and she's going to engage you on some great faculty related topics.
Hey guys, I know you're ready to get out of here. They saved me for last because I'm best. That's how that works. Okay, hey you guys, I'm Melynda Conner. I am the High Impact Practice Specialist in the Office of Student Success. Basically, that means I'm here to help faculty. My specialty is teaching and learning. I've taught in higher ed for 12 years now, and not at a TCAT, I must admit. So you guys have some things to teach me about TCATs. But I'm learning quite a bit about the dynamics of your versatile classroom, right? So what I'd like to do is ask you first, do you know what an SME is? The letters SME, what do they stand for? Anybody? Yes, Charles, thank you. A subject matter expert. So in this room, who is a subject matter expert? You all are, right? And your students are coming to you to learn a craft, to learn a skill, to learn a trade. You are the subject matter expert, right? Dr. Hollins and I cannot step into your classroom and effectively convey the information that you do. I'm essentially a subject matter expert in teaching and learning. I think it was mentioned earlier that I'm finishing up my PhD in higher education. So I've been studying it for the past 4 years, and I'm ready to be done with that degree and actually get going on practicing. I want you to think back. Oh, I think we covered. Okay. So I'll serve as your liaison for teaching and learning this year. We are going to be extending this orientation online all year through April, right? You will be, I'll give you access to your login information here in a minute, but we have an online community where you can talk and discuss with other faculty across the state, not just the people in this room, but people within your fields in East Tennessee, West Tennessee as well, right? I think it's a total of about 70 people that we'll have in our online classroom. And you'll be able to contact Dr. Hollins and I anytime you'd like. You'll have our contact information, and we will communicate with any issues that you happen to have, questions or suggestions that you have, right? So let's think back. Have you ever taught yourself how to do something? Right? Have you ever taken lessons for something? So there are a lot of different ways we can choose to learn. Right? Anymore, we can just go onto YouTube and figure out how to do something cool, right? That we don't know how to do. I think there's a plethora of YouTube teaching videos out there. You may have even anybody made a teaching video on YouTube? Okay, well that's an option, right? If you want some online followers or something. So our students have decided to come to us to learn, right? They've entrusted us with their time, with their efforts, with their energies, and with their future, right? So we are going to be teaching. Let's put ourselves in the student role for just a minute. Think back, and I want you to think about the most memorable teachers you've had. Instructors, trainers, teachers. I want you to write down the 3 most memorable. Now, memorable does not mean positive necessarily, right? Okay, so the 3 most memorable. Let's write them down. You're going to need it. Write them down. Oh, good. That was fast. You're like Flash.
Think about it all the time.
Oh. Okay, and the second step is put down 2 or 3 reasons that they are memorable to you, that you remember them. Okay, see pencils going down. Give you another few seconds to jot those reasons down. Okay, now I'm going to take you out of your comfort zone, and I'm going to put you in some groups, and they're not going to be groups you necessarily expect. So you 2, you, and you 2. So there's 5. That's group 1. Okay, and then you 3 and you 2 are group 2, and then you 3 and you 2. We'll include you in the back. I didn't notice you there. So y'all will be 6. Y'all be group 3. So my group 1, my group 2, my group 3, and then. How did I do this? 5 here is group 4. 4 here is group 5. I'm out of whack somehow. Okay, you 4, and then you 4. Actually, you're in this one, aren't you? You can stay where you are. You can just turn around there. Okay, so sorry. Told you I was taking you out of your comfort zone. Okay, so you 5. Actually, I'm going to make you 4 since it kind of got weird back there. And you 4. Okay. All right, so turn around, talk to each other, tell each other about your teachers, why they were memorable. I want you to come up with 2 do's that we want to do as instructors, right? And 2 don'ts that we don't want to do. And not based on our experience as instructors, but based on our experiences as students. Okay? So based on your experience as students and what you remember about these teachers, what are 2 things as a group that you're going to come up with that we definitely should do and 2 things we definitely should not do? Okay? I'll give you about 8 minutes. Okay, everybody should have had a chance to kind of tell their story. If they haven't, make sure you get around to everybody and then start on your 2 and 4. So let's wrap it up and decide who's going to present. It doesn't have to be the person who wrote them down. You got to have a spokesperson. Okay, so my first group that's going to report out is right here because they were the first ones done. So what did y'all come up with for the 2 do's?
The 2 do's, I'm just going to give you my top 2. Be patient.
Be patient.
You'll be tested. And the second one is get to know your student on a personal level because we're all different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So take the time.
Take the time.
Okay.
Be patient.
All right, what are your 2 don'ts?
2 don'ts. Boy, that was a big list.
What were the top 2?
Top 2 is one of us had a teacher that always tried to one-up you. No matter whatever you did, they had done it better.
Oh. So let's keep our ego in check, I guess, right?
And don't be lazy. They seem to watch us.
They do watch us. And we are to model the behavior we expect from them. If we expect them to be prepared, we should be prepared. If we expect them to work hard, we should be working hard. Right? So I got that kind of from, you good? Okay, great. Who is my second group to report out? Yes, sir.
Okay, on the do's, on the positives, be passionate about what you're teaching.
Ah, yes.
Also be knowledgeable of that field, but also be able to transfer that knowledge in a way that people can understand. It doesn't matter if you're the smartest person in the world about a subject if you can't transfer that knowledge to the pupils.
Absolutely. Okay, so be enthusiastic, right? Is that what you said? And make your material make sense. Is that what I got from you? Right, so just because we know all the terminology, do our students know all the terminology? No, that's why they're in our classrooms, right? So we have to say things in ways that they understand and use examples that they can relate to, right? Okay, and your don'ts?
Rude and condescending,
Mm.
and inflammatory or losing their cool.
Okay, so let's not lose our cool as much as we might want to. Let's step out to the hallway before we do that, right? And let's not be rude or condescending. Again, we don't want our students being rude or condescending to us. We want them to be respectful to us. Let's be respectful to them, right? Did I cover it well? Okay. All right, who's my third group?
We were.
Okay, in the back.
Our 2 pluses would be hands-on, do a lot of hands-on with them.
Yes.
Don't have your hands on them, but just hands-on with
Definitely.
them.
Yeah, keep your hands to yourself, but have them do hands-on activities.
To be
Yes.
personable
Personable
and relatable.
and relatable. Yeah, bring your best self to the classroom. Be you, but bring your best self. You know, right? Think of your own children if you have them, right?
Make sure you don't do any physical contact to them.
Do not touch your students physically.
And don't become too friendly,
Okay, and why not become too friendly?
because they'll take advantage of you quickly.
Right, and I believe that Dr. Perrier talked about that, right? We are the instructor until they graduate, then we can be the friend.
Yeah, they can come back and visit.
Right. Okay. All right, who's my fourth group? Okay.
Our dues, kind of already said, but energetic kind of goes along with it, enthusiastic, passionate. And then we said, the other thing we said was interactive. We enjoyed teachers that were not staunch and too distant, but engaged in class conversations and class humor at times.
Okay, so be enthusiastic was repeated, and be more have more hands-on activities, and what was the term you used?
Interactive.
Interactive. Be more interactive with your students. I mean, y'all have had a lot of lecture today, right? And we're doing something that's a little more interactive. You know how that feels. So, remember what it's like to be a student. Okay, and your negatives.
Again, one was, we put it was just like, I think Jason had said, couldn't oversimplify, couldn't dumb it down, or, could be very, very knowledgeable, but couldn't communicate it.
Okay, so don't be in the ivory tower looking down upon the peons, right? Okay.
And then, along with that, is not to be challenging, but not demeaning.
Oh, absolutely. Do not demean your students, because I know there's stuff I don't know, right? I could step into any one of y'all's classrooms and learn a great deal. And I think we all could probably do that. So we don't know what we don't know until we know it, right? So there's no sense in demeaning people for something that they don't know. So thank you. Okay. Who did I give another assignment? Okay. We'll just go over here.
We had be a good listener
Be a good listener. Absolutely.
and be patient and fair.
Be patient and fair. Patient has come up before, fair has not. What does it mean to be fair?
Treat people equally, but he had a good point, but treat people as they need to be treated.
And what do we mean by that?
On an individual basis, you may not treat everybody the same because everybody's different. People don't earn it,
What's that?
some people don't earn it.
Okay, right, but we do need to be fair.
But I think his point was that I think it was your math teacher that.
No, it was actually a mentor I had that he just had a unique ability of being able to read people, and he treat everybody a little different, but everybody really liked them. They got along with him well because of his people skills, you know, so.
Okay, so be personable
Yeah.
and relatable, okay? What was your first one?
Be a good listener.
Be a good listener. Now, so that, as I hear it, it makes me think of discussion questions. Many times we say, okay, well, we're going to you ask the class a question, and then you're like, oh, we're out of time. We can't finish this discussion. So it's important to be a good listener in our discussion about our learning, because student reflection is a big part of them taking things in and being able to process, and provide them the opportunity to ask and answer questions as a group and discuss. Because if we shut them down, that lesson may never stick after that, right? So plan your discussions, plan time for your discussions, okay? All right, so what are your negatives or don'ts?
Well, it's already been said, but don't be friends.
Don't be friends, okay?
It's too complicated
It does.
quickly. And then don't be intimidating.
Intimidating, don't be intimidating. How can we not be intimidating? Be relatable, right? Be friendly. That's one way to not smile every now and then, right? Okay, all right, great. Who's next? Somebody back here? Okay.
So our dues are just care, show that you are concerned with their success,
Care, absolutely.
and also maybe, share with them your workforce experiences.
Yes, please do that, right? And share the positive workforce experiences along with the negative. A lot of times I think that we tend to remember a lot of negative and bring that into the classroom. Well, these people are trying to grow into that profession, and if all they hear is negative, well, they might decide, well, maybe this isn't for me. So let's find the positives to share, okay? And your don'ts?
Don't act like you know everything,
Don't act like you know everything.
and don't be partial or show favoritism to certain students.
Yes. Okay, so with the don't act like you know everything, well, we already covered we don't, right? And in the learning environment, we are students as much as we are instructors, and our students have things to teach us as well. So be open to that. And what was your second one?
Don't show favoritism.
Don't show favoritism. Yes, be fair. Absolutely. What you do for one, you need to do for another. And that's important in your policies. When you make your policies, make sure you stick to those. If you allow one student to turn something in late with a 10% deduction, well, then that's your policy. And state those in your syllabus, because your syllabus is a contract between you and your students, and that will protect you and them. Right? Okay, this group. She did.
To do, take time to teach on an individual basis.
Yes, absolutely. Get to each person as you're teaching, okay?
Keep the subject matter fun and entertaining.
Absolutely. I mean, find the fun parts of what you do. It'll make it better for you too. Okay? And your don'ts?
Don't single a certain person out like in front of the whole class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was covered earlier. Take them out in the hallway or something if you need to.
Don't be arrogant about the information. I think some of us kind of struggle with that because we might know a whole lot about what we're teaching, and we forget today we don't know anything about it.
Absolutely.
There for a reason.
Yeah.
They are there
That's
for.
what they're there for. We get frustrated too quick.
And if you need to take a break, say we're going to take a break, and then you go to your own area where there are no students, right? And just kind of cool down sometimes. and then come back to the situation. Because if you remove a student right then, well, then you're calling them out in front of everyone, even though you're taking them to the hallway to have a conversation. Everybody knows what you're doing, right? So be considerate of how you go about discipline, right?
It might be better to do that break time.
Yeah. Or after class, you know, say, I would like to make an appointment to speak with you. And then that way you have a cool head and they have a cool head, hopefully. They're probably very nervous. But, you know, you can have an opportunity to get some space from the
By
situation.
then I'd be forgot what I was mad at.
Like with our kids, right? Okay. All right. And we will all make mistakes. Don't let that fluster you. My biggest example of mistakes that I like to use is Steve Harvey and his Miss Universe pageant,
Oh, yeah, that
where he announced the wrong winner, right? That was a pretty big mistake in front of everybody, right? But did they fire him? No, he's still doing his thing. I mean, you know, so we're all going to make mistakes. Okay, be prepared. And I think I heard these in what you were telling me. My 3 keys to teaching success, I call it my teaching trinity, kind of like, does anybody do Creole cooking or watch cooking shows? What's the Creole trinity?
Celery, onions, and bell peppers.
Exactly, right? So this is mine for teaching. Be prepared. I know I heard that out here. Be engaging and be responsive, right? And I think most of what we said falls into one of those 3 categories. So every trimester, be prepared, because prior planning prevents pitifully poor performance. You may have heard that before, maybe in a different phrasing.
Rule of 6 Ps.
The rule of 6 Ps, right? So have your syllabus ready, update it every trimester with the new, you know, new dates, read through it, make adjustments, turn that in, and include a course outline and calendar if you can, right? And maybe, I know that it gets challenging with different levels in your classroom all at the same time, but you've got a concept guide that you can include for semester or trimester 1, trimester 2, that kind of thing. You can put that in there. Give it to your supervisor, but also give it to your students, because like we said, it's the contract. Organize your concepts and create your assignments. And then every week, make sure you follow your syllabus. If it's a contract that you have with your students, then you need to live up to your contract, right? And let them know if there are changes. It's not, you know, written in stone, it's just ink and paper. So let them know if there are changes. Create your lessons, at least plan out your class times. 6 hours is a long time, but have that plan. Know what it is you're trying to accomplish with each group that week, and make sure you get there, kind of thing. And prepare your examples, like I said. Be authentic and respectful. We covered that. Use real life examples. Ask thought-provoking questions. If all you're asking are yes and no questions, all you're going to get is this and this. I think you're wanting a little more engagement, a little more brain work. So plan out your questions. Make sure that they're thought-provoking. And encourage the growth mindset, like Dr. Schulte talked about earlier. There are people who have a fixed mindset who say, I've never been good at math, I'm not going to be good at math, don't like math, right? We can help them by saying yet. You're not good at it yet. With a little more questions, with a little more work, you can get better, right? So the key word is yet. And help them to think that they can. Invite them to seek answers together, right? Create a community within your classroom where they're sharing experiences with one another, where they can add value even as individuals so that they feel like, hey, you know, it makes a difference if I come to class. It makes a difference if I answer a question. They can feel valued by you, that they've done something positive. They might not have any other positive reinforcement in their life. So try to provide everyone with at least a little positive reinforcement for something that they did right, showing up for class, you know, something. And help them to make sense of the materials together, because 2 heads are better than 1. And if they're trying and struggling on their own, it helps to pair them up. And connect over commonalities, right? You can create a community within your classroom. Be responsive. Be responsive personally. That came up with in a couple of places. Use their names. Let them know that you know who they are as an individual, right? And pronounce those names correctly. Brianna is a different person than Brianna. And Michael is a different person than Mikhail, right? And if we don't take the time to care and to know, they will feel it. And they probably will leave your class, right? Be responsive humanely. All of our students are just people like us, and we were once where they are, right? We all have different life circumstances. We may have never been where they are in life, and we may not understand that at all, right? But we've been at a new learning point and not known what it is we're trying to teach them. So just remember that they have responsibilities outside of school. Be mindful of your tone and your volume when you speak to students, right? If you feel that your blood pressure is getting kind of high, like I say, step out, take a breath, come back in. And watch your facial expressions. I had a student this past semester who told me that I was not making her happy with my facial expressions, that every time she answered a question, I looked disappointed. So I had to work really hard not to do that. That was the first time that happened in 12 years. I thought, okay, all right, facial expressions. So I was learning. Do things that promote students' academic welfare. That's what you're there to do. Promote their academic welfare. Help them master the material. You don't have to hand them $50 because they don't have money, right? But you do need to help them find a way to understand the material that you're trying to teach them, right? Be timely in your responses. Check your emails, especially your TCAT emails. I'm going to be sending you an email once a week to remind you to go to the faculty learning community, check on you, right? You can always ignore them if you choose, but they will keep coming. So you're welcome to respond every week. I would love to talk with you. And respond to their questions as soon as possible. We don't know everything, right? So we're not going to have the answer to every question that they ask us. We can say, you know, that's a really good question. I tell you what, let's all go home. Let's look for that answer, and we'll come back here tomorrow, and we'll talk more about that, right? Let's write that down. And then that way, you're not on the spot to right then answer that particular question. You can think about how it is you want to go about answering it, okay? So right now, I want you to take time, a few minutes, and write down what your goals as a TCAT instructor are. How do you want to be remembered? Take some and pass them. Hope I have enough. Okay, so we've been talking about this online New Faculty Institute. This is a step-by-step walkthrough of how to get on and participate. The first letter just tells you that you are my heroes, because you are. I mean, unless you are there in your classroom teaching, we are not educating our citizens, and by 2025, our state would be in not so comfortable of a position economically. So thank you for making Tennessee great, right? And
I heard on the news, I think it was Friday or Saturday national news.
Yeah.
Said we're number 8 in the nation for technical education.
that's incredible.
That was on the national.
That's a wonderful statistic. We're number 8 in technical education
In the nation.
in the nation.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is wonderful.
Which means in the world, so.
Right, it does mean in the world. So yes, right?
That's not bad.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
As Jennifer said, did you just hear that? I said, what? She said, we're number 8 in the nation for technical education.
And you guys are a big part of that. So thank you, thank you. You have my contact information at the bottom of the front page, or at least my email. Now if you'll turn to the second page, and back table please share, at the top, I've given you the web address for the portal for the New Faculty Institute. It's going to be a little different than your D2L courses for your students. Okay? Thank you, Tachaka. And then I've given you what your username is going to be. It will be the first 2 letters of your first name paired with your last name. So for me, Melynda Conner. Oh, I can actually get on here and show you today. Yesterday I had to do this without it. So let's do this. Y'all can tell me if I'm doing it right. Now, you guys are going to do the first 2 letters of your first name and your last name. Mine is a little different, so don't pay attention to what I'm putting in. And then your password, other than, let's see. Okay, so y'all, most everybody's password is TCAT train. However, Casey, Charles and Robert and John, y'all's is let me in. All is one word, all lowercase. Yes.
Let me in.
Let me in, all lowercase, all one word. Woody just made yours this morning, so it was a little different than TCAT train. Okay, but everybody else is TCAT train.
How come ours is different?
You should be able to log on with those credentials I just gave you. Now, like I say, this is a different portal than your classroom for your students. Okay, so this is not your login for your classroom for your students. This is just for the TCAT New Faculty Institute. So that, I think that's going to be all y'all's graphic. So you scroll down, you click that graphic, and it brings you in. See right here, TCAT Faculty Institute. Okay, and there is the guide, a welcome message. It's called course description. I think I'm just going to go in there and put description, community. I'll put community description. And then how it works. So you've got a little roadmap. We're going to be using the course home, the course content and discussions. We have, Dr. Hollins and I have worked on a quote unquote curriculum, right, that we want to provide you guys with. Tools and information and certain activities even for your classroom starting in January about work ethics that you might want to incorporate. So if you go to course content, this is what you'll see. I just wanted to show you. It's just going to reload. There's an overview, right? But if you click on table of contents, it gives you everything all in a row. There's a getting started module that has a message for you. Our contact information, if we click on that, see Dr. Hollins' information is there, her email and phone number. My contact information is there, my email, my office phone number, and my cell number. I give my cell number to all my students. Why not give it to faculty too? Right? If y'all need something, the quickest way to reach me is to text me. If I am having fun with my family or if I'm asleep, I will not answer you right away. I will answer you when I get back to work or at my earliest convenience, right? But I will do my best to take care of you, especially if you have an urgent question. And that's why I provide that. So anytime you want to go back, you just hit course content. Community conversations. In each month, there's going to be discussion about certain topics, but this community conversation is just for whatever thoughts, questions, concerns you might have, right? That you want to share with the whole community. And you click on that discussion, and to start a new thread, you click start a new thread. And then you enter a subject, enter what you want to say, and click post. Okay? Your first discussion is in the Getting Started module, and it is your bio, just so we can get to know who people are. So right there, create a bio, tell us who you are, where and what you teach, share what you enjoy about working with students, and tell us something fun about yourself. And then engage somebody else. Right? There aren't grades in this, by the way. You know, it's for your benefit. I hope that you will participate at least once a month, log in, see what's going on, huh?
It looks like Facebook for instructors.
It's a little bit like Facebook for instructors. Absolutely it is. It just doesn't happen to be in the same portal. It's not as easy, right? You got to actually specifically go. So my bio is here for you guys already. I hunt luck. That's my fun fact about myself. That is my calendar for May of this year. That's how many 4-leaf clovers I found in my backyard.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I don't know. I can find them pretty easily. So I just found one yesterday. It's what I do just for relaxation. Come home and I'm, okay, everything's gonna be okay, right? And I go to the Clover. It says yes. All right. So, but questions about this, because mainly we're going to use course home, which is back where the announcements were, and course content. So that's where the announcements are going to be. And then the course content is where we were with the table of contents. And if you want to go straight to discussions, you can do that as well. I want to show you, September is about faculty role. October is going to be tools you can use. Dr. Hollins has mentioned that she has put the COE materials here. Here is a condensed checklist, accreditation responsibility checklist for you, right? There is a TCAT master syllabus template. If you don't have a template to use for your syllabus and you're kind of lost as to where to start here, right? Because if you click on it, it is a document that you can simply download, right? There's the download button, and it will download as a Word document, and you can change it however you'd like. I went ahead and included the grading scale and the attendance policy and tardy policy, but of course, your syllabus is up to you, right? I just included things that I thought you might want in, and then there are standards of conduct and academic integrity that are TBR's policies, right? So it's just a starting place for you if you need or want it. And then back to September. And all of the primary COE documents are right here. In this discussion question, there's a discussion about accreditation. And I have it showing up in the table of contents as well as if you click on it. It's right here. These are all hyperlinks. So there's the standard 2 check sheet. And if you click that, it will open up for you and you can download the PDF if you want to, or you can simply look, right? So all of that is there. Sorry, the instructor view goes straight to an editing situation. But the employer verification is there, the placement verification, licensure verification, and the sample report. They're all there for you. And then the discussion question is, what questions or concerns do you have about accreditation, right? So you would just start a new thread and away we go. And you can see who's in the class by simply clicking class list, and you can find your friends and message them if you want to. Right? Okay. So, thoughts, concerns, questions about the online? Okay, I want to point out, did you have a hand, somebody? Saw one? No? Okay. Engaged teaching is November, classroom community is December. January is when we start work ethics. We're going to do communication first, then teamwork, and qualities and behaviors of an ethical worker, and then some extra resources in April. So, I realize that you're going to be well into teaching and already are, many of you, by that point, but I hope that it can provide something new that you can use to augment your classroom and your teaching with. And I have really enjoyed getting to know you today, and I'm going to hand this off to Dr. Schulte, and we're going to get you guys out of here.
Okay, folks, we'll make this really quickly, a quick departure, because we're going to try to get you out of town before traffic gets too terribly crazy in Nashville. I can't tell you that you won't hit traffic, because unless you come through at about 2 in the morning on a Sunday, there's traffic in Nashville. So it was funny, I came back from TCAT Jackson yesterday, and I passed a caravan of vehicles. It was a truck with a trailer and another car, and they were coming from California. And I think that their car was filled with guitars. So I guess all the dreamers are coming here. But countless other people in so many different businesses and industry are not only coming to Nashville, but actually throughout Tennessee. We are a very prosperous state right now, and the challenge for you has never been greater, because one of our challenges is that anyone who wants to get a job can get a job somewhere, doing something, and sometimes making some pretty good money. $12, $14 an hour to do untrained labor is not uncommon anymore. So to really be able to capture the imagination of your students, to let them know that there are opportunities greater than they have imagined in your field, and that committing to your program and completing your program will open gateways for them for a future that will be very exciting and prosperous and will contribute to the betterment of not only their lives and the lives of their family, but to the lives of their community and their state and their nation. So you're really tasked with an enormous responsibility, but one of the things that you can say about teachers is that teaching is the only profession upon which all other professions rely. So whether you're a doctor or a lawyer, an accountant, a professional in any field, you have gone through the learning process. You have been taught by teachers. So you're joining a wonderful, wonderful cohort of professionals, taking your subject matter expertise, sharing it with others in a way that they can become subject matter experts themselves. And the key to their success is looking back at you in the mirror in the morning. So just remember how significant a role you are playing in the lives of these young people, middle-aged people, and old people. Okay, we had someone yesterday said, well, I've got 16-year-olds and I've got a 69-year-old in my class. I said, well, there you go. Isn't that the way that it is? And you're all kind of looking like, yeah, been there, done that. So realize that the challenges are great, but we stand ready to assist you. Your peers stand ready to assist you. You're all in organizations on campuses with great professionals who can be a great resource to you. But we really hope that this online faculty learning community will be another tool in your toolbox, will be another way for you to grow and learn and hone your skills as professional educators. So with that being said, we thank you for coming and giving of your day today, participating animatedly as you have. And if we're ready to go, then what are the 4 words you're supposed to remember?
Workforce development, student success.
All right, workforce development, student success. Oh, by the way, what are the other 4 words? I think I can. I know you can. That's where I'm at. So good luck to you, and have a safe trip home, and we'll see you again soon.